Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is the Vibe Online podcast with myself, Megan, and with Karen. Hey, Karen. And this is our podcast that we come to you every week and we talk about the journey between being an employee to entrepreneur, all the ins and outs of business and working online. So today it is episode number 8. Amazing. And we will be talking about really what it takes when you start a business, any kind of business that is. And especially, we've touched on this before in previous episodes, but the short-term sacrifices that you need to make to create your vision, right? So how are you doing, Karen?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really, really well, thank you. I caught the live this morning within the group about the event that's happening in
Oh
August.
my God, yes,
Very
I'm so
exciting.
excited.
It's going to be amazing. So, well, for our listeners, we'll just give you guys a little brief. We've got an event coming up in August with the community, and it's going to be an activity weekend that Karen and her partner Baz have organised for the community. Do you want to give a little brief on kind of what's going to be going down?
Yeah, it's really exciting. So it's going to be an annual event. So obviously it's going to happen every year. This is the first one. It's going to be held down in Devon, which is where we are living. It's going to be in the middle of the moors. But also it's going to be very wet and wild, and you're going to be facing your fears every single day, but you're also going to learn to put your trust in others to get through your fears. So yeah, we're going to be diving deep into the water. We're going to be working at heights. We're going to be challenging ourselves, and probably to a degree where maybe a lot of people have never even thought about doing before. It's going to
Mm.
be very exciting. I remember the first time, not long after I met Baz and we started doing all this stuff together, I was absolutely terrified. So I have been in your shoes. I know exactly what it's like and how I managed to get over that. And I also with my, obviously where I am now and how I've learned to coach people through this also. So yeah, very privileged to be asked to organize this by Lisa for the community. So yes, it's going to be a full weekend from Friday lunchtime for those that can make it at lunchtime until Sunday afternoon. So yeah, very excited. I cannot wait.
It is. I can't wait, and I'm so pleased that I'm going to be back in the UK and I'm going to be able to attend it as
I
well. I
know,
mean,
I can't wait.
can't wait for us to, meet up again as well. It's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be a challenge for a lot of people. And I think this is what we get to do as well, is face our fears and break through those limitations of mind and body. And it's going to be a really, really great weekend. So very much looking forward to that. So listeners, if you want to follow us along as well, because we have a few events coming up this year actually
We
within the
do.
community that you'll be seeing as we share on our socials and things as well. And if it's something that you want to get involved in as well, then obviously reach out to us and we'd love to share some more details with you. So that kind of is a great place to start, really, when we're talking about sacrifices that we make within business to create the life that we really want to create. And these events are so valuable for us in our development, but also in business, because we get to meet up together and share knowledge and experiences and break through and build those kind of bonds with each other as well. But of course, with anything, there comes the time and the costs and things like that, which we've kept it to a minimum, and it's very, very affordable for these events as well.
Yeah, very much.
However, when we're talking about sacrifices, let's talk about, well, the sacrifices that we need to make when we start a business.
Yeah. I think also it's important that no matter what walk of life you're in, you always have to sacrifice something in order
Mm.
to move forward and get what you want, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. Of course you do. And I would say it depends what you class as a sacrifice. I think some people see a sacrifice as a bad thing, as a negative.
Yeah.
And it can be sometimes, depending on what you're sacrificing and what it really means to you and what value that is to
Yeah.
you. However, on the flip side as well, it can also benefit you very much so by removing some of these things that
Yeah.
maybe may not have been serving you, that you may not have recognized.
Yeah, I think it's
And
nice as well to kind of be like, do you need it? What value is this giving you in your life? Is it getting you to where you want to be? What is your future vision of where you want to be? So like I love coffee. Obviously, everybody knows I love coffee. I've got a coffee shop right next to my gym, but sacrificing that coffee every day, which adds up really quickly over a week when it's like say £4 or £5 a day on coffee, you know, that's over a month, that's over £100 on coffee. That's crazy when you put it and break it down that way. So
Wow.
need to then be like, okay, so I've got my business that I love and passionate about, and it allows me to have my future vision, provide for my family, give my kids the legacy income, but also help others on the journey. So what would I rather do? Would I rather continue in my head, and this is how I think about it, would I rather go down the selfish route because Karen loves coffee and Karen doesn't really need a coffee every day, but Karen wants a coffee every day? And then that's a detrimental effect because it's taken £100 away from what I could potentially put into my business for my future, for my family, my kids, and my other friends and loved ones and everybody else I meet in my journey. Or am I going to sacrifice this need that I don't need for short term, for say, even just a few months until my business is in a position where I want it to be? And then, do you know what? If I want to go and get a coffee, it's actually not affecting anything. It's no longer a need. It's no longer a selfish act as far as I see it, but it's something that I can do and I can enjoy. And the fact that I've then got my business to where I want to be is that I can take others for a coffee.
Nice, nice. And it's something as simple as a coffee. You really don't know how much it adds up over the month. Like £100 is a lot of money, on coffee. I mean,
Yeah.
just swap out your Lush Costa coffee or whatever it might be for an instant or a filter coffee back home, because you can actually get really nice, decent coffee.
You can.
You can have and enjoy that from home, which will also save you money.
Yeah.
And allow you to put that back into your business. I think, yeah, it's nice to pinpoint those kind of very small sacrifices there. For me personally, I mean, I love coffee also, but I also love to enjoy a glass of wine of an evening when I wind down.
Yeah.
Or when I was a glass of wine and chill in front of the telly and watch some TV programs, because that was my wind down time. So when I started looking at, because that's what we do, you kind of analyze what's kind of happening in your life and the areas that you can improve on, so that are either serving you, not serving you, that you can sacrifice short term
Yeah.
to then have that bigger gain in the future. And for me, it was that. And I don't actually think now, looking back on it, sacrificing or removing that glass of wine and chill time on the sofa for now, because I'm a lot healthier and happier when I'm not drinking all the time, or like watching telly that wasn't really serving me, and using those few hours to put into my business instead.
Yeah.
So that when in time, you're going to have all your time back. You're going to have all your time in the world to chill out and watch the telly that you want to watch, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And spend time with friends and go for drinks and dinners and things like that. And that's another area as well, isn't it? Those kind of luxuries that we give ourselves in our day to day, like going for drinks and food and meals and things with our friends and family. That is there's time element, but there's also an expense element there as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it depends on what your personal take on is where you want your life to be. What do you want to do? So obviously this is an objection that we get hit with quite a lot, isn't it? When we're speaking to people about the business, and it's like when I was on a call just recently with somebody who said, oh, so I've actually just realized, like, I can give up a few things that I love to do and make these short-term sacrifices, because already they've got the long-term vision and goal of where this business is going to take them, which is incredible. So short-term goals don't need to be anything huge. It can be just something as simple as, like you said, Meg, cut out the glass of wine a night. For me to cut out the coffee, for somebody else to cut out, I don't know, like chocolate springs to mind, because that's another love of mine. Don't buy as many bars of chocolate throughout the day. These little things that you don't need to have every day, because they're a luxury, they're a nicety, and it's how we've kind of been made in society, that you need to have all this in your life, and you don't. But what you could do is you could cut it out and then have it maybe once a week as a reward because you've worked hard in your business. You're that little step further to creating that life that you want, that you know you can have, and you know that you deserve. And these little things, like, go through all your outgoings. Do you need all these outgoings? Do you need all your subscriptions? Do you need to have all these apps on your phone? Do you need to be scrolling? But what you get to do, and this is a very important reframe of wording, is you don't need this, but you get to build a life, you get to build a business. So if you get to remove that from your time, which is sacrificing you being able to get the life you want, then something's going to have to give for you to then be able to get it back when the time is right.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that as well, what you touched on there, and you become much more grateful and appreciative of that if you have it as a reward, at the
Yeah.
end of the week. I know on a Friday night I'm gonna have a glass of wine and a pizza or whatever. Like last night, me and Mike went out to celebrate, and you don't have, when you have it all the time, you don't really appreciate it.
No.
And then you sit there and you enjoy that first sip of wine. You're like, yeah, I deserve this,
Yeah.
I worked for this. This is great.
Yeah, and it's nice to have that reward and appreciate and acknowledge that you have worked so hard to, yes, absolutely go out and celebrate, but it means so much more when you've worked hard for it and you've got to that next level of you've achieved the goal that you've set out to achieve just by giving up that
Yeah.
little thing.
Exactly. And also when you touched on there with the, checking through your bank statements and your finances and things, that has been a daunting thing for me. No one really likes to look at their bank account and figure that
No.
kind of stuff out. But then it became quite refreshing because I cleared out all of the crap that wasn't really serving me, the subscriptions and things that I don't even know what was on there, like the little 250s a month, of where you're like, yeah, I'll just opt in, and they
Yeah.
start taking out, and it all adds up, all of this kind of stuff. But when you start to clear it out and you're like, right, okay, well, I've got these outgoings, and that's that. And now I've got all of this money that I've just saved that I can now
Yeah.
put into my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, actually.
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, I just did it, as we said previously, we were having a quick catch up before we started the podcast. I just did it this week, and I'd highly recommend to the viewers, it's a scary thought and it's a scary process because we're not programmed and we're not educated to look into our finances properly, are we? And this can be
Yeah,
another
it's true.
podcast where we can delve a little bit deeper into that kind of side of things. But go through your finances, have a quick scan through your bank, let's see what you're spending money on, what you need to be spending money on, what you don't need to be spending money on. What about all the subscriptions you forgot about? We've all had
Yeah.
plenty of them. How much money can you save and then start looking to create this life of building an online business? Like I was listening to the news just the other day, which I very, very rarely do because it's so depressing. But when I had it on in the background, and it said that the cost of living crisis is increasing so much that the government are not prepared to do anything, but people have to just get on with it and accept it. Well, for me, that's unacceptable. So, but what I do know, and what we both know, is that there's other opportunities out there. So we have taken the leap, haven't we? We've taken the step. We're making the sacrifices now for short-term sacrifices for long-term goal and gain of having our own business. So therefore, we're not going to be affected by the cost of living crisis. Yes, everything's going to go up, but so are our businesses. So we're going to be able to be in a much more comfortable position because we've put ourselves there. We're no longer going to be working for somebody else and being governed by the government and, ruled for trading time for money. All these little sacrifices to create the life you want, to give you the freedom of having whatever it is that you want in life, whether it's for you, your kids, your future kids, your family, your parents, your partner, these little sacrifices, which may sound huge when they first initially get mentioned to you, like, how can I not watch Netflix every night? Well, if you give up Netflix for watch it, treat yourself to one night a weekend and watch a movie or something like that. But to give it all up the rest of the week for maybe 2-3 years, however long it takes you to build this life that you're wanting to build with an online business, you're going to have all that time and money and everything back. And it's just going to feel so much more incredible. And then you may even be in a position where like, actually, I love my business so much that I don't want to watch Netflix.
Yeah, and I think that time that you sacrifice by, not watching the telly during the week, you're working towards your future and your vision and your business, and you're learning and you're growing and you're reading books and you're listening to podcasts and your relationships are getting stronger. So
Yeah.
actually the benefits that you have by making those short-term sacrifices actually like give you back so much. They give you
Yeah.
back so much tenfold. And as you mentioned there with the cost of living crisis, that's happening and everyone is feeling the effects of that. Like everyone is, and that it's going to be very a tricky time for a lot of people. We've taken that step now to protect ourselves and secure our income because we're going to have control over that. When removing yourself from the reliability of the government because you have no idea if they're going to be able to support you or not.
Yeah.
They've got millions of people that they are going to try and support, I'm sure, but why rely on that and then put yourself in a position where you can't have those luxuries anyway because you won't be able to afford them. So
Yeah.
doing something for yourself now, and it is for yourself, it's for you, it's for your family, it's not something to look upon like a sacrifice. I'm building my business, I'm building my future, I'm building my vision, and it's gonna give you everything that you want, all of that, the finances, the time, the great relationships, the great friendships that you're going to build along the way as well,
Yeah.
and all of that growth and that journey that you get to have. So it's so worth it. It's so
Yeah.
worth it. I would love to
Absolutely.
hear from the listeners actually, what kind of sacrifices you might have made throughout your life to
Yeah.
create or meet a goal that you wanted to have, whatever that is. I know, like, let's say, for example, when we've got holidays coming up or we've booked a holiday, we make those sacrifices on the small things so that we can afford, we put away money so that we can go on our holiday and have a nice time. Um, Gosh, I think my battery is going to be very sad in a moment.
Oh, well, we can wrap this up. It's okay. We can wrap it up. But yeah, we'd love to hear from our listeners. Let's see what you've sacrificed. Do you want to do a short-term sacrifice now to benefit your future, or do you want to make long-term sacrifices to feed the government's pockets? To me, it's a
Yeah,
no-brainer.
absolutely, completely agree, 100%. Would love to hear from people on, and what you'd be willing to give up for your future of complete freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. Can't wait to hear from you guys. So we'll wrap it up, Meg, before your laptop dies
Yeah.
and you disappear. And we will catch up with all you guys next week. So it is bank holiday weekend here in the UK. So I hope everybody who's listening has a fantastic weekend, no matter what you got up to. Think about your sacrifices, have a look at your finances. And yeah, we'd love to hear back. We'd love to get some feedback.
Totally. Have a great weekend, guys.
Have a
Speak
great
soon.
time. Bye.